Good evening. The latest COVID numbers for India. Well, in the last 24 hours, we now have 3,48,421 cases. The cases have gone up by 5.6%. Also, deaths in the last 24 hours are India's highest ever. If we just look at the deaths, they've gone up by 8.4% the last 24 hours, crossing 4,000. The tests have also gone up by 7.2%. That's good news because the more testing, the more we know the reality of the data. Also, according to government data, just over 24.5 lakh doses have been administered. The vaccination is down by 2.2%. This amid reports of short supply from many states coming in. Today's positivity rate is 17.56%. But let's just go across to Arvind and Uma amid a growing row over the vaccination situation and our request being made for technology transfer. Arvind, first over to you because, of course, major opposition parties, interestingly not the AAP, not BSP, have written to the Prime Minister questioning the current vaccination and other policies.
Yeah, Sonia, almost 12 major opposition parties, including Congress and also Shiv Sena and also NCP, Samajwadi Party and also DMK, almost 12 opposition parties have written to the Prime Minister regarding the COVID crisis in the country. They have urged the centre to intervene and to make this the procurement of vaccine centrally and then make it as a free mass vaccination campaign. So that's the very important point, the request that has been put forward by all these 12 opposition parties. If you could take all these 12 opposition parties, at least in 8 states, these 12 opposition parties are in government. So what we are seeing is that in order to tide over the crisis of vaccine shortage domestically, states have now started looking globally. Almost 8 states, as on this date, almost 8 states have decided to move globally to procure vaccination. The vaccines that includes Delhi, Uttar Pradesh, Karnataka, Odisha, Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu, Andhra and Telangana. And what we are seeing is that Uttar Pradesh has already gone ahead by issuing a global tender for the procurement of 40 million vaccines, COVID vaccines in a span of 6 months. In fact, in the global document, in the global tender document, they have said that they need almost 6 to 8 million vaccines per month for a period of 6 months starting next month itself. So that's their demand. But what we are being told by officials is that though the state governments are looking for a global tender, but there seems to be a problem because only those vaccines cleared by the Drugs Controller General of India can be imported. In that case, only one foreign vaccine has been cleared by DCGI, that is Sputnik. Apart from that vaccine, no other vaccine have been cleared by the DGCI. So there still seems to be a problem, and that's why all these opposition parties have written to the Prime Minister.
No, and in fact, globally also we know that there's not vaccines available in that sense. So, Uma, we're seeing after Delhi, the Andhra Pradesh Chief Minister has also written to the Prime Minister saying that Bharat Biotech must transfer technology. Even these opposition leaders have asked for compulsory license. So, we know Hyderabad, in fact, is a vaccine manufacturing hub for the world. Why? What is the resistance that we're seeing to perhaps letting this vaccine be made by many more manufacturing companies who have the expertise?
Truly so that Hyderabad is the vaccine capital. 2 billion doses are manufactured, which is 1/3 of the total vaccine globally consumed so far. Yes, Bharat Biotech is the only one which is manufacturing this particular COVID vaccine, though others are in the trial stage. Andhra Pradesh now demanding, along with Delhi, and of course even in that letter that all the opposition parties have written, they've spoken about compulsory licensing for all these vaccines. And he has said that if the technology transfer happens, there is capability and whoever is interested can take it up and ramp up. Right now, all of us know for sure that the vaccines are in shortage. Just if you take the example of Telangana, even to just vaccinate the second dose, they are not able to do that because of the numbers. 43 lakh people need to be vaccinated in Telangana just in the second dose, and that is not being possible. And if we were to talk about the 18 to 44 category, they have said that they require 3 crore doses. And remember, as of now, the vaccine output, COVID vaccine output in India is only about 7 crore per month, and therefore the ramp up is required. As of now, Bharat Biotech has not reacted directly to the technology transfer issue that all these, whether the Andhra Pradesh or others have put forth. But there is also some local politics that is playing out, Sonia, which I must point out, that Jagan Mohan Reddy has alleged that the owners of Bharat Biotech are in some way related to Chandrababu Naidu, his opposition party leaders. He's pointed out that Mr. Ramoji Rao, who is a media baron, is related to them by marriage, and that is possibly also the reason why Andhra Pradesh, he says, is getting less vaccine. Of course, Delhi has also complained, and that's why Suchitra Ella has in fact put out that saying that it is difficult.
No, but I think in fact that really levels on the ridiculous. So it takes away from what seems to be a valid argument that why not technology transfer. By getting into the politics of it really makes no sense at all at this stage. But thank you so much, Arvind and Uma, for the detail. Meanwhile, some good news again is that Bharat Biotech's Covaxin has got a nod for phase 2 and phase 3 clinical trials on children and teenagers 2 to 18 years old from the Drug Controllers Panel. So they've got permission for these clinical trials to start. Remember, children are a major area of concern, especially with India warning of a possible third wave where children will be hit badly. Meanwhile, as we talk about data and requests for vaccines, eventually it is all about human lives. And of course, this is our focus as India's deaths have crossed a record high in the last 24 hours. And perhaps the visuals just summing this up most tragically are the floating corpses we're seeing in the holy river, the Ganga. Now, Manish Kumar reporting from the UP-Bihar border shows how super fishing nets are actually being used to now pull out these floating corpses from the river.
After this super net was thrown by Buxar district administration at Karmansa river, a tributary of the Ganges on Bihar-UP border, 10 more bodies were recovered today. With this, the total bodies fished out from this river has crossed 80, as at least 71 decomposed bodies were retrieved on Tuesday. Eyewitnesses claimed bodies were being thrown at the behest of local police post on the UP side.
कौन आदेश दिया था लाश को अंदर ले जाने के लिए?
यहाँ सब चौकी वाला
हैं? चौकी वाला बोला? 12 चौकी वाला बोला?
Meanwhile, the Buxar district administration today heaved a sigh of relief when at this Mahadev Ghat, not a single body was found floating today. Going on an offensive, Bihar Water Resources Minister Sanjay Jha urged Centre for a probe. Jha, in a series of tweets to Union Minister for Jal Shakti Gajendra Singh Shekhawat, said that this is an insult to the river Ganges. With Patna High Court now taking note of these floating dead bodies, it seems that at last there will be some dignity in death to all those who are succumbing to COVID. With Manish Kumar, Usama Shab for NDTV.
We'll keep focusing on our special report on human lives that are lost in this pandemic. But meanwhile, our special report tonight on what actually is happening on the ventilators which were bought last year under the Prime Minister Cares Fund. Now, state after state is reporting that there are problems with these ventilators. Either they're lying unused or they are defective and faulty, including in the state the Prime Minister is elected from in Uttar Pradesh.
In district hospitals in Uttar Pradesh, ventilators procured under the PM Cares Fund gathering dust at a time when they are needed most in the midst of the pandemic. The ventilators, unused, locked up in stores, tell a story of almost criminal negligence. In the Firozabad Medical College, 75 ventilators unused for over a year. 119 were purchased under the PM Cares Fund. Of these, only 39 have been used. After reports in the media, a sudden flurry of activity.
शासन के दिशा निर्देशों में 50 वेंटिलेटर तो कैंसर हॉस्पिटल लखनऊ भेजे गए हैं, 15 वेंटिलेटर प्रयागराज मतलब इलाहाबाद मेडिकल में गए हैं और 10 जो हैं कल कमिश्नर साहब के आदेश पे मिलिट्री हॉस्पिटल आगरा को गए.
It's not just Firozabad. In Balia, when Minister Upendra Tiwari went on an inspection, people complained about COVID deaths due to lack of oxygen. Ironically, in Balia, there is no trained staff to operate the 29 ventilators sent there.
18 वेंटिलेटर बसंतपुर में पड़े हुए हैं, 11 वेंटिलेटर जिला अस्पताल में पिछली समाजवादी पार्टी की सरकार के ही पड़े हुए हैं, जो उस समय भी ट्रायल होकर के हैंडओवर लोगों ने नहीं लिया. और इस आधार पर जो कल मैंने मीटिंग लिया, उसमें 18 वेंटिलेटर खराब स्थिति में पड़े हुए थे. जिला प्रशासन और कमिश्नर ने और प्रमुख सचिव तक मेरी बात हुई.
Kaushambi too received 24 ventilators. Of these, 15 were sent to a private hospital. 9 are lying unused as there are no skilled technicians to operate them.
संज्ञान में आया है, उसके लिए जल्दी से जल्दी जो व्यवस्था हो सकती कराई.
In Lakhimpur Kheri at the COVID hospital, another similar story of neglect. Of the 25 ventilators, 18 are defective. And in Aligarh at the Deen Dayal hospital, where they received 60 ventilators, 50 are allegedly not working. And former minister from the BJP government, Dalveer Singh, has written to the Chief Minister about it. In Punjab too, at the Guru Gobind Singh Medical College and Hospital in Faridkot, a similar story.
हमारे पास इस समय टोटल वेंटिलेटर जो ठीक हैं वो है अराउंड 42 बेड वेंटिलेटर्स, ठीक है जी, और कुल हमें 82 वेंटिलेटर प्राइम मिनिस्टर योजना से आए थे। प्राइम मिनिस्टर योजना वाले जो हैं उसमें से लगभग 62 वेंटिलेटर्स वो खराब हैं और वो शुरू से ही खराब हैं।
This is now the subject of a letter war between the state government and the centre. The centre says they had written to Punjab in April this year asking them to begin using the 809 ventilators sent to them last year. The state government in turn says that they had replied to the centre in May this year saying that the ventilators were faulty. The opposition in Punjab has asked the state government to fix the issue at the earliest.
6 ਦਰਜਨ ਦੇ ਕਰੀਬ ਵੈਂਟੀਲੇਟਰ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਪੀਐਮ ਕੇਅਰ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚੋਂ ਆਏ ਸੀ ਉਹ ਅਨਯੂਜ਼ਡ ਪਏ ਆ ਮੈਡੀਕਲ ਕਾਲਜ ਫਰੀਦਕੋਟ ਔਰ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਗਵਰਨਮੈਂਟ ਦੀ ਇੰਨੀ ਨਾ ਅਹਲੀਅਤ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਠੀਕ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰਾ ਸਕੇ ਅਜੇ ਤੱਕ। ਉਹ ਠੀਕ ਕਰਾਓ ਕੈਪਟਨ ਅਮਰਿੰਦਰ ਸਿੰਘ ਜੀ, ਇਹ ਘਰੇ ਬੈਠ ਕੇ ਕੁਝ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੋਣਾ।
Complaints by Punjab and UP come close on the heels of similar complaints by Madhya Pradesh and Chhattisgarh, where 2 ventilators purchased under the PM CARES fund are lying unused. With Kamal Khan in Lucknow and Mohammad Ghazali in Chandigarh, Rohit Wellington for NDTV.
So we get equipment, we spend money on it, spend crores on it, and then we don't use it. Meanwhile, a Supreme Court judge has tested positive. So the Supreme Court's hearing on the centre's vaccine policy has been deferred for tomorrow, as one of the judges hearing the case has tested positive. Currently, there are 5 Supreme Court judges who are currently COVID positive. The fresh dates for this hearing will be notified later. Well, in news from across India, the Maharashtra Health Minister has said restrictions in Maharashtra, the lockdown is likely to be extended till the end of May. Also, vaccination for 18 to 44 age group has been temporarily stopped, but new doses are likely of Covishield after the 20th of May.
18 ते 44 वयोगटाला तूर्त शब्द महत्वाचा आहे, कारण तूर्त स्थगित आपण करत आहोत, कारण आपल्या जवळ लस ही उपलब्धता नाही, त्यालाच खऱ्या अर्थाने दुसरा डोस भारत सरकार देऊ शकत नाही। आज एवढं सांगितलं जातं, माननीय मुख्यमंत्र्यांना आदर पुनावालाही भेटले, त्यांनी असंही सांगितलं की आम्ही 20 तारखेच्या नंतर आम्ही 1.5 कोटी डोसेस पर मंथ देऊ।
Meanwhile, Bengaluru is now the city with the highest number of active cases in India, even though for the last 2 days these numbers have actually been coming down. But the state government, after the huge controversy over the fact that there were no beds available in Bengaluru, is now setting up triage areas in various localities and also oxygen buses.
Getting a hospital bed for COVID treatment has often been a nightmare for patients and their families in Bengaluru, the city with the most number of active cases in the country. Now the city authorities are trying new approaches, starting with triage centres in each of the sprawling city's 28 assembly constituencies. Patients can just head there. No need to go through the helpline or wait for an ambulance. Doctors there will decide whether they need home care, should go to a COVID care centre or should be hospitalised.
Who require hospitalization are triaged and sent to the hospitals. Who require admissions in this direction. We are trying to streamline so that the demand and supply is addressed very effectively. There should be zero problem. It is only 28 places, 28 locations have been given. In this, any of this location, anybody can go from anywhere and get triaged.
Oxygen has been a struggle, even for those admitted to hospital, with many city hospitals having run short of supply. Another new approach is the use of oxybuses, which will be able to provide oxygen to 8 patients at a time outside a triage centre or hospital. And in association with Ola and NGOs, the state has also seen the launch of a free service of home delivery of oxygen concentrators. Vaccine supply remains a huge challenge, and the state has put out a global tender for 2 crore vaccines, in addition to 3 crore doses already ordered from Indian manufacturers.
See, already we have placed order for 3 crore vaccine with Serum Institute as well as Covaxin. So they are going to supply the vaccine. Along with that, additionally, we are trying to procure from various sources. Whoever can cater our requirement immediately, we are looking to them. So that there is a lot of demand. There's a lot of demand for the vaccine. People want to get vaccinated as early as possible.
This is one of the hospitals that will be used as a triage center in Bengaluru. Patients should not be denied access to such centers. The hope is that new initiatives like this and an enhanced supply of oxygen and vaccine will help Karnataka and Bengaluru turn the corner. With DM Kumar, Maya Sharma in Bengaluru for NDTV.
Well, among the many other cruel blows during Corona, fuel prices are at a record high this May. This amidst economic hardship for many people at this time. Well, the only silver lining, of course, the lockdown, so people aren't using cars and transport so much, but it's still hitting hard.
For Mohammad Riaz, an auto driver from Maharashtra's Parbhani, it is a battle for survival. First, his business took a hit due to the lockdown. The rise in fuel prices has added to his miseries as petrol prices touch 100 rupees per litre in Parbhani district.
एक साल होगा लॉकडाउन है सब क्या करना अभी ऑटो वाले सब परेशान है सब व्यापारी लोग का परेशान है ऑटो में कोई बैठ रहा नहीं.
Story is no different for Mumbai's Jayesh Sherekar, an Ola driver. Jayesh stays in Navi Mumbai and comes to Mumbai for work every day. He is now finding it difficult to save any money. He says with petrol at 85 to 90 rupees a litre, he could at least take home rupees 200 to 250 daily, depending on number of trips. But now, with business down, he hardly gets 2 to 3 trips a day. According to multiple reports, about 30,000 Ola Uber drivers lost their jobs since last September, and repayment of EMIs is believed to be the biggest reason why many could not sustain the job.
4 घंटे में अगर महीने 150 रुपये कमाए उसमें 100 रुपये मेरा फ्यूल में चला गया, मेहनत चला गया और एसी लगाएंगे उसमें कस्टमर को एसी लगता है तो एसी के वजह से अभी क्लाइमेट का हिसाब से फ्यूल और ज़्यादा लगता है.
Kiran Alekar was in tour and travels business. But since that is shut, he has now moved into business of helping people with their documentation. For that, he uses his bike daily. Kiran says a business that was at 80% has now come down to 30%. And this fuel price hike will put an extra burden of at least 1,500 rupees per month in his pocket.
मैं अगर थाना से मुंबई ट्रैवल करता हूँ फॉर माई वर्क, पर्सनल वर्क, फॉर माई ऑफिशियल वर्क, तो आई कैन नॉट बी डिपेंडेंट ऑन द ट्रेन्स एंड बस. आई हैव टू ट्रैवल ऑन बाइक. पर अचानक 3 दिन में इतना राइज होने की वजह से हमको अभी ये सोचना पड़ रहा है कि अभी ट्रैवल इससे करें या बस या ट्रेन से करें.
For the third consecutive day, petrol and diesel prices were hiked. This is the 7th increase since May 4th after the elections. In Delhi, petrol is at 92 rupees and 5 paise, while diesel is at 82 rupees 61 paise per litre. In Mumbai, petrol per litre is at 98 rupees 36 paise and diesel is at 89 rupees 75 paise. In Chennai, petrol is at 93 rupees 84 paise per litre, while diesel is at 87 rupees 49 paise per litre. And in Kolkata, petrol is at 92 rupees and 16 paise per litre, while diesel is at 85 rupees and 45 paise per litre.
According to a recent report by Azim Premji University, around 230 million people lost their jobs in this pandemic. And with increased fuel prices, it's becoming difficult for people to survive this lockdown where they have no option but to use their own vehicles. With Kanhaiya in Parbhani and Praveenji Rohit in Mumbai, this is Purva Chitnis for NDTV.
Well, a quick look at some other news. The March industrial output has grown. The index of industrial production is up by 22.4% in 2021. It's at 22.4% versus 16.7% a year ago in March. Also, the industrial sector saw a contraction of minus 8.6 in 2020-21. Retail inflation has, however, eased to 4.29% versus 5.52% in March, attributing to the softening of food prices. A quick look at markets as well. The Sensex and Nifty have declined for the second straight session. The Sensex ending 470 points lower. The Nifty declining by 154 points. Markets decline amid weak global cues, and markets fear a rise in the United States inflation may lead to a rate hike.